February 11th, 2011. A man stands on stage in London. His hands are shaking. His name is Stephen Elop. And he's about to read the corporate death sentence of the most dominant phone company in history. In just 24 months, Nokia will go from owning 51% of the mobile phone market to being worth less than a used Toyota. But this isn't a story about Apple. This is a story about denial, arrogance, and a company that refused to believe the world had changed. This is the death of Nokia, and it happened faster than anyone thought possible. 1865, Finland. A young engineer named Fredrik Idestam opens a paper mill on the banks of a river. He names it after the town nearby. Nokia. For 100 years, Nokia made paper, then rubber boots, then cables. They had no identity, no focus. But in 1982, everything changed. Nokia released the Mobira Senator, the first car phone for the Nordic market. And suddenly, Nokia wasn't a paper company anymore. They were phone makers, and they were damn good at it. By 1998, Nokia was the largest mobile phone manufacturer on Earth. They dominated Europe, Asia, America. The Nokia ringtone was heard 1.8 billion times a day, more than any song in human history. This was the phone that couldn't die, literally. Drop it, it survives. Run it over, it works. January 9th, 2007. Steve Jobs walks onto a stage in San Francisco. He's about to change everything. An iPod, a phone, an internet communicator. These are not three separate devices. This is one device in Finland. Nokia's engineers watched, and they laughed. No keyboard? No one will buy this. One executive wrote, "The iPhone is not a threat. It's a luxury toy for rich Americans." Nokia's chief strategy officer said on camera, "The iPhone is nothing more than a niche product." But the world disagreed. By 2010, Apple had sold 90 million iPhones. Nokia's smartphone sales plummeting? Nokia's operating system was called Symbian. It looked like it was designed in 2002, because it was. And if the iPhone wasn't enough, Google released Android. Open source. Free. Fast. But Nokia's board didn't panic. They didn't pivot. They didn't adapt. They waited. September 2010. Nokia hires their first ever non-Finnish CEO, a former Microsoft executive named Stephen Elop. He spent his first 4 months reviewing Nokia's finances, and what he found terrified him. February 8th, 2011. Elop writes an internal memo to all 60,000 Nokia employees. The subject line, "The burning platform." Within hours, it leaks to the press. The entire world reads Nokia's corporate suicide note. Elop writes, "We are standing on a burning platform, and we must decide how we will change our behavior." He compared Nokia to a man standing on an oil rig. The rig is on fire. You can burn, or you can jump into the freezing ocean. Nokia's stock crashed 14% in one day. Investors were panicking. Employees were furious. 3 days later, Elop announces Nokia's solution, a partnership with Microsoft. Nokia would abandon Symbian, abandon Android, and bet everything on Windows Phone. There was one problem. No one wanted Windows Phone. Microsoft had 3% market share. Inside Nokia, engineers revolted. "This is insane. We're abandoning our own platform for a dying one." Rumors spread. Elop was a Trojan horse, sent by Microsoft to destroy Nokia from the inside. But it didn't matter anymore. The damage was done. The moment Elop announced the partnership, Nokia sales froze. This is called the Osborne effect. When you announce you're abandoning your current products, people stop buying them immediately. By 2012, Nokia was closing factories, firing thousands. The company was bleeding. Nokia released the Lumia line. Gorgeous phones, amazing cameras, but the App Store was empty. No Instagram, no Snapchat, no Google Maps. Developers ignored Windows Phone. September 3rd, 2013. Microsoft buys Nokia's entire phone division. The price? $7.2 billion. At their peak, Nokia was worth $150 billion. Stephen Elop personally walked away with $25 million. 25,000 Nokia employees lost their jobs. In Finland, they burned Elop in effigy. They called him a traitor, a saboteur. Microsoft deleted the Nokia brand. 148 years of history. Gone. 3 years later, Microsoft admitted defeat. They wrote off the entire purchase. Total loss. Today, Nokia phones sit in museums, next to Kodak cameras and Blockbuster cards. So what killed Nokia? Was it Apple? Was it Android? No. Nokia killed Nokia. They had the technology. They had the talent. But they had something more dangerous. Pride. They were so convinced of their dominance, they couldn't see the world changing beneath them. Charles Darwin said, "It is not the strongest species that survives, but the most adaptable." Netflix started renting DVDs. Now they create Emmy-winning shows. Amazon sold books. Now they own the cloud. Nokia sold phones. And when the world stopped buying those phones, they had nothing left. The phone that couldn't die belonged to a company that couldn't survive. Nokia still exists, but they don't make phones anymore. The giant fell, and it fell fast. This is Shadow Smarts, where we uncover the stories they don't teach in business school.